Hey, St. John. Welcome to the Post-Sermon Podcast. I am Deaconess Dahlia, and with me today is Pastor Adam.
Hey, Deaconess.
Hey. And today we have a special episode. This is not our normal...
It's an Around the Sermon episode.
Episode 5.
Episode 5. We checked before we started.
And Pastor Adam, remind me, what is an Around the Sermon episode?
It is off topic, so we're not reviewing a sermon, but we're talking about something else. And it's a someone else today. Yeah,
so we thought we'd have a special welcome episode to our new vicar, Vicar Tim. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. First time I've ever been on a podcast, so this is exciting.
Many more episodes await you.
Yes, that's true. Well, very good. So do you normally listen to podcasts?
Not very often. I find that I can usually read a lot of stuff quicker than I can listen to it. But I have listened to the Bill Simmons podcast decent amount, especially when they're talking about football and basketball. But other than that, haven't really listened to many podcasts. So,
all right.
Very good. Well,
you should definitely listen to the Post-Sermon Podcast and listen to your voice. That's always a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it took me a long time before I could start listening to my own voice. But
Yep.
Well, very good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, where are you from? Things like that.
Yeah. So I am from Ypsilanti, Michigan. It is a town that's right by Ann Arbor in Michigan. I've lived in Michigan my whole life. First in a small town called Richmond, which was about 45 minutes or so northeast of Detroit. We moved to Ypsilanti in 2012 when my parents, who are Lutheran school teachers, took a call to St. Paul Lutheran School in Ann Arbor. So, been living there for about 10 years or so now.
Very good. Can you show me on your hand where that is? Ypsilanti.
Yes.
I'm sorry you guys can't see it, but...
This is excellent audio content.
Yeah. Well, I can't help it. That's what everyone in Michigan always does, is they show where they're from on their hand. That's so cool. So you mentioned your parents. They are Lutheran school teachers?
Yes. My dad is currently teaching 4th grade. He's also taught 5th grade. And my mom teaches 8th grade homeroom and middle school social studies.
That's so cool. And your dad plays organ, right?
Yes, he does. He doesn't get to play as much as he would like to because we have a very talented organist at our church, but he does play. He enjoys playing. He was very happy that he got to play a little bit after my installation service, so that was a lot of fun for him.
Yeah, that sounded so good.
Yeah, I heard some Die Strong Word going.
Yep.
So, Vicar, what do you like to do for fun?
I love sports, especially basketball and football. I am
watching or playing?
Watching and playing for basketball, mostly just watching for football.
Okay.
I have been playing basketball for years, played in grade school and high school, and I currently, I guess last year I played on the Concordia Seminary Preachers basketball team, which that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the mascot's Preachers.
Yes.
Yeah. Fort Wayne, they're the Kingsmen, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And we beat them last couple years, so everything is back to normal.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows this. There's a long streak that St. Louis had against Fort Wayne in the basketball series, and just recently Fort Wayne broke that. So that's good to hear that you guys have put things back in good order.
Yes. Then just with sports, I'm a huge Michigan State fan. Go Green.
You're not going to get a go white from me.
I don't think many of the listeners will be giving me a go white either.
No, no, they're not.
Fighting words.
I'm a huge Michigan State fan. I also love all my Detroit sports teams, even as they have repeatedly let me down over the last decade.
We're going to commiserate all year on that, Vicar. Yeah.
So where did you go to school for undergrad?
Yeah, I went to Concordia University, Chicago.
The best one.
You didn't go to Ann
Cougars.
Arbor? You didn't go to...
I am curious about you choosing Concordia, Chicago over Concordia, Ann Arbor.
Well, I wanted to get away from my parents a little bit. And
there you
go.
go.
You can literally see the school that my parents teach at from the campus.
Yeah, it's just up the hill. A lot of students would walk up the hill to St. Paul for church on Sundays and then walk back. So.
Yeah.
Is that where your parents went to school? Was Ann Arbor? Or did they go to Chicago?
They went to Seward, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Nebraska.
No, it's good. It's good you said it.
Not everyone knows. We got to balance inside baseball talk. All right, anyway, so tell us about Chicago, right?
So At Concordia, Chicago, I majored in history. Originally, I was there to major in history and political science because I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. For many years, I'd said, I'm not going to be a church worker, and now I know God was just kind of laughing at me. But when I was a sophomore, I started to feel the call to become a pastor. Some books that I had read just really motivated me to want to learn more about the Christian faith and even wanting to eventually be able to teach it to other people. And after talking with the pre-sem director at Concordia, Chicago.
Pastor Jeff Leininger, right?
Yes.
Yes.
How many name drops are you going to do this episode?
It's the only one.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, so Pastor Jeff, he's a great influence. He encouraged me to consider the pre-seminary program, which I joined my sophomore year and kept studying history, added on theology and biblical language minors, and graduated in 2021 and went straight to the seminary.
That's great. So what was a favorite class of yours at seminary and why?
Let's see. I'd say that there's two classes that have really stood out. The first one was Synoptic Gospels with Dr. Gibbs, which, given the length of how long the class could be, it became a class on Matthew. But since that's Dr. Gibbs' specialty, it was wonderful. And I gained so much knowledge from that class, so much appreciation for what was going on in the gospel and learning how to read the gospel better. So that was one of my favorites. And then my other one that stood out was this past semester, I took a reading and preaching the word class, which is a class that's co-taught by one of our biblical studies or exegetical professors and one of our practical professors. And the class is very much structured on how do we read the Bible and then preach on it. And it was about taking what we had already learned about preaching, what had we already learned about reading the Bible, and really just putting everything together to preach to different contexts, preach in different ways. And I had two great professors for that, Dr. Adams and Dr. Nafsker, who I understand was here doing a workshop.
We had him out for a workshop recently.
Yeah. So it was just a great class. I learned so much, and really I felt myself becoming a better preacher throughout that class.
Very good. So not too long ago, when you were at seminary, they had call day, and you found out where you were being placed for vicarage. So what was your initial reaction when you found out that you were coming to St. John in Dublin, Ohio?
Honestly, I was a little surprised.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you think you were going to go? Where did you think you were going to go?
Dublin, Ireland?
I've been kind of hoping that I would get to go to the East Coast. That was my number one choice, but also there was like 2 East Coast vicarage and like half my class requested the East Coast. So in reality, the odds of me going there were pretty low. But I also had said Midwest was like my other option. But honestly, I didn't expect Ohio. I don't know why. Like,
not many expect Ohio. As a Michigander, not many expect Ohio.
Well, we did a vicarage mock draft, and multiple classmates of mine had actually put me here in their mock draft. So apparently I should have been listening to them.
That's a thing?
It's become a thing now.
That's so cool.
Wait, do they know the vicarages?
They took all the names of the vicarages from the last 2 years.
Oh, okay. So they don't know if there's any new ones or ones dropping out. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So they put you like for the specific church?
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny.
So you found out you got placed at St. John in Dublin. And sometime after that, we got together over Zoom and talked a little bit and started to get ready for your transition out to St. John for your vicarage. And you just finished up your first full week last week, and that also happened to coincide with a vacation Bible school. So what was that like, moving? And then day one in the office is you're not in the office, you're doing vacation Bible school.
Yeah, it was it was busy and it was exciting, and honestly I was pretty nervous because I had never done anything with VBS before in my life other than attend it 13 or so years ago. but ended up going really well, to be honest. I was pleasantly surprised at how natural a lot of the stuff felt. And all the kids were great. All the volunteers were great. And it just went a lot better than I had hoped for, to be completely honest.
You also got to be in the very well air-conditioned sanctuary. That also helps too during that week.
Yes.
And you had Rosie
nice.
the comfort dog.
That's right. Yeah, Rosie.
For a day. That's awesome. Well, that's great. I think that's such a great way to start a vicarage, is this week where we have so many volunteers, so many people from the church are there. And it's very high energy and just, I don't know, it's kind of fun to
I think so.
start off that way.
I think so. I think one of the tough things of vicarage is like you get here, you're ready to go, and it's often the summers when things are quieter.
It's definitely not routine, right?
Right.
Not everyone's always in the office, or
Yeah.
it's just different.
Yeah, many of our conversations have already been, hey, one day we'll be doing this will happen, but it was nice to actually be doing something right from the get-go.
Yeah, and it was a great way to just start meeting a bunch of people right away and to have chances to kind of talk to some people instead of just like being in the whole line after church where everyone's just shaking their hand, saying their name. And
Right. No, so I think having that week was really good. So what do you think so far of Dublin, Ohio? Have you been able to explore it all in the Dublin, Hilliard, Columbus area?
a little bit. When I moved in, my parents and I we went to dinner in downtown Dublin, which looks really cool. And there's other places I definitely want to try there soon. Hoping to do maybe a little more exploring this weekend. I should have some time to do that and just getting into the area. And it's exciting being in a new place. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the really cool things about living in Dublin is you're just so close to so much. You know, you're just minutes away from Columbus, and there's just so much to do.
So, being our new vicar here, you're vicar number 4, and it's always a joy to see the congregation grow with each of our vicars. But maybe from the outset, what is something about yourself that St. John should know about Vicar Timothy Contreras? How about a fun fact?
Fun fact. All right. So my go-to fun fact is always that for about 10 years or so, I owned a chinchilla. And there are not many people who can say that because they are these small, little fluffy squirrel-like animals from the Andes Mountains in Peru. And I had one that was given to me as a gift, and his name was Charlie, and he was very cute, and I do miss him because unfortunately he passed away at the age of about 13, we think. And that's like one of the coolest things about me is that I owned a chinchilla.
Charlie the chinchilla.
Charlie, that's a great name. I'm trying to think. So chinchillas are very similar to like a guinea pig, or no?
They're about that size. Their tails are like squirrels' tails. Their fur is like some of the softest fur like ever. Like they have like 80 hairs per follicle, and we have 1.
Oh, wow.
Their fur is very soft, very thick, and they're just some of the cutest little animals. So go look up a picture of a chinchilla if you don't know what they look like, and you'll just see how cute they are.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's had a chinchilla before.
I don't think so either. Thank you for that fun fact, Vicar.
It's great.
Now, looking at the vicarage year itself, what is something you are most looking forward to doing here at St. John during your vicarage?
So I enjoy learning and teaching. So high school Tim cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm looking forward to teaching, and I'm looking forward to leading some Bible studies. It's something that I enjoy doing it. The couple of times I was able to do it at my fieldwork church back in St. Louis, and I'm looking forward to being able to like lead a whole study, not just like doing it a couple random Sundays when I was called upon, and actually having something planned out, working through book of the Bible, and just learning and growing along with my learners. So
Wonderful. Well, we've already been talking about some of your studies that you'll be doing this year, and I think we're settled on what you're doing for Sunday mornings. What are you going to lead us in on Sunday mornings in your class?
Yeah, we're going to be going through the book of Daniel, which is a book that I've been doing some work with lately. And I just think that it's a really cool book to study because on the one hand, you have some of the most familiar Bible stories in the whole Bible, like the stories that if you've been in Sunday school at any point in your life, you know what they are. Then on the other hand, you have some of the strangest, most obscure prophecies that most people would look at and go, all right, what's the next book? So I'm looking forward to working through everything, like looking at some of the stuff that we're familiar with, looking at some of the stuff we're unfamiliar with, and just finding the way that God is working in the world in Daniel and how he's going to be working through Jesus in Daniel.
Wonderful. Well, I'm excited for you to figure out when the end of the world will be for your study of Daniel. So, pay attention, folks. You'll find that out. And I hope we don't hear any sort of ringing endorsements for the Daniel Plan diet. So as long as we avoid those, I think we'll be okay.
And so, so you're looking forward to teaching. Well, there's definitely a lot of opportunity for that here. And then your first sermon will be coming up. I believe it's August 13th. Is that right, Pastor?
Yes.
Are you looking forward to preaching here?
Yeah, I'm very excited to preach. I only got to preach a couple times at my field work just due to scheduling and time constraints. And preaching, that's like the most important thing that the pastor does. And so getting to preach a lot here, which I know I'll be doing and which is something that excites me, it's just such a blessing to be able to proclaim God's word for people to hear.
Well, I'm looking forward to working with you on the sermon process as we lead up to that date. And August 13th will be your first sermon.
Looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, Vicar Tim, for coming on this episode with us and for telling us a little bit about yourself. We're looking forward to this next year with you. And this wraps up the episode for today. So thank you, everyone, for listening to our Around the Sermon episode 5.
Episode 5.
All right, you guys, take care. Bye.
Bye.